And in terms of the weather, I'm looking out the window here in Cardiff. We're used to it slightly in Wales, but it's not the best weather, is it? Do you think that's going to have an impact on the race and the times that you're aiming for?
So Jonny, obviously, 12 months ago the weather wasn't the fairest, but you had a cracking run. Will that concern you, worry you, or are you just out there to race it?
I think, it depends. Things can change between now and Sunday. When I've been looking, it's been up and down. So I think kind of judge it a little bit closer to the race. But, we've got some really good pacemakers there on Sunday as well, and hopefully we can use a bit of a group to, shelter from the wind. And as well as, we're in the city this time, so we can have a little bit more shelter from the buildings and stuff like that. So it might be a bit of a, it might play a part in the race. But at the moment, just kind of wait and see.
And for you, Josh, probably a typical West Walian day of weather predicted on Sunday.
Yeah, I looked out the window this morning. I thought it was a nice day, but yeah, no, I like to control the things I can control. I can't decide what the weather's going to be. It'll be the same for everyone on race day. So yeah, I think being Welsh is probably a bit more accustomed to it than some. So yeah, if it's bad, I'll try and use it to my advantage rather than look on it as a negative.
So being that it's part of the trial for the World Championships next year in Oregon, is that part of the goal motivation, Jonny, to hit that time and book that spot on the world team?
Yes, because my goal is to obviously run inside 2 hours 11:30, and try and finish as the first Brit. But equally, it's the old sort of cliche. I'm not thinking too far ahead. I want to run Sunday. I want to race Sunday, and it'd be nice to have a sort of see what happens next year, almost having the selection of what races to do. So yes, it is, but it's kind of like indirectly, because I just want to have a good run on Sunday first and then go from there.
So yourself, Josh, obviously Commonwealth Games time, under the belt, you would probably, I'd like to think, look to run a little bit quicker than you have done so far. Is that the aim on Sunday, is a personal best?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, next year's a dream for marathon runners. There's 3 championships to aim for, so yeah, there's lots of goals on Sunday. World Championships, one of them. Then you got European standard, Commonwealth standard, personal best. There's lots of things to aim for. So, yeah, I'll just try and give my all and run as quickly as I can. And if I come away with a PB, I'll be happy.
Yeah, it's a busy summer next year of marathons. So, Jonny, talk us a little bit about the injury that kept you out of the trials, because it was a fairly innocuous start to the injury, but then it developed into something obviously a lot more serious that put you out of those trials.
Yeah, so it was literally at the start of the year when we had the cold spell and there was snow and ice everywhere, and everything was fine. I just had tight calves, which all runners seem to have at one point or another, especially when it's a bit icy outside. So I just slept in compression sleeves one night, which I've done before, and for some reason, whether I had an itch or they just rolled down in my sleep, they kind of rolled down in the night and caused an indent in my leg, and then from there stopped the circulation and caused gout, which crystallised in my ankle. And then it wasn't necessarily the gout, it was the swelling, and we couldn't get the swelling down quick enough, so that caused problem with the Achilles and the peroneal tendon. So we had fluid drained and had some cortisone in there, but it just didn't settle in time. So I just ran out of time. To stand on the start line of an Olympic trials marathon, you've got to be 100% ready to go, and I just wasn't there. I'd missed too much training by that point. So yeah, it was unfortunate. It was really unlucky, but it is what it is in that sport.
Oh, we were gutted for you, so hopefully you can put that right on Sunday. So, Jenny Bozen?
Yeah, hi there. Question for Jonny. So you're obviously first Brit home at last year's London Marathon. Just wondered how much confidence that gives you ahead of Sunday.
Yeah, I think so, because I'm like Josh, this will be my 10th marathon on Sunday, so each marathon I do, I feel like I'm gaining confidence, I'm learning more about the distance, and I'm kind of I know how it feels now past 30k, which I think you can only gain with experience. So the more times you do it, the more you know what it feels like in the later stage of a marathon. And it's all things about getting the fuel on board and things like that, which I feel like I'm getting more out of myself now as well. So yeah, last year definitely gave me confidence, especially in the conditions. So hopefully I can do that again this year.
So question, Josh, to yourself, in terms of planning and getting ready for a marathon this time of year in comparison to the spring, how different is it in your previous build-ups to your 9 marathons?
Yeah, I much prefer preparing for an autumn marathon myself, because the weather in the summer is a lot more fair. Doing sessions on the track and stuff in nice conditions, it's much better to get quality, which over the winter when I was preparing for the Olympic trials, it was quite difficult to get that quality with particularly the ice and stuff and the limited travel. So Yeah, I would say preparations this time has been a lot more smooth, and yeah, there's no excuses not to run well on Sunday.
No excuses. Jonny, in terms of marathon standards in Britain at the moment, how healthy is it, and who should we be looking out for the future maybe?
Yeah, I think it's in a really good place. The fact that 3 guys represented GB in the Olympics aren't here now. So there's 3 guys missing straight away. Training partners of mine, Ross Millington, people like that aren't racing on Sunday. So I think it's in a really good, healthy place at the moment, and we can all sort of help each other to raise the standard and push the standards on. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how like Charlie Hulson does on the weekend and stuff like that, because I think he's got a real future ahead of him on the roads and the marathon. So yeah, I think it's in a good place, but don't forget the old boys like Andy Davies and stuff like that as well. So how he keeps going, I don't know, but yeah, it's in a really good place at the moment, and I think that helps us all as well to help raise the bar.
Great. And Josh, what's your plans after this? Will you fit in another marathon before summer championships, or is it a case of back to training?
To be honest, I'll have to wait and see how Sunday goes, because then I'll know what my plans are going to be for next year. But I'm definitely considering another marathon, but I'm not really thinking too much about what I'm going to do yet. My focus is Sunday, and then hopefully set myself up for a championship next summer.
And the same for you, Jonny. Will you look at another marathon in between? What would your preference be in terms of European, Commonwealths? Would it be the Worlds, obviously being the big one?
It's so hard. I mean, I was talking about this on the way down with Pete. It's kind of like, yes, the Worlds are the World Championships, but also, potentially to be able to compete for a medal in the Commonwealth Games, would be huge as well. So I just don't know yet. I'd like to maybe, I don't know what it's going to look like next year in terms of spring marathons, but I'd love to go and do something like Boston as well at some point. So yeah, I'm not saying, don't know yet, but yeah, possibly something like Boston in the spring would be really good.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to having so much opportunity and options
and
as
it
well.
depends on what happens next
Dave
summer.
Monty.
Hey, I think you sort of answered my question, Jonny, but what is your bucket list marathon, the one that you would really want to do, obviously, besides the Olympics? Thank you.
I've done New York, David, which is obviously a highlight. So yeah, Boston's definitely next on the list for me, and then hopefully Chicago one day.
Josh, any marathons? Obviously, London's always on your bucket list, but any others?
Yeah, I think I've got 2 really. I'd love to do New York one day, and I'd also love to do Tokyo Marathon as well. I think both have got rich running cultures, both slightly different. So yeah, I'd love to race in both. But there's loads of great marathons out there that I'd love to do.
Yeah, New York's a cool city. Thanks very much, Josh. Thanks very much, Jonny. We wish you all the very best on Sunday. So that brings us close to our men's section of the press conference. So we'll have a short pause, and then we'll be back on stage with Charlotte, Natasha, and Samantha. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Elite Press Conference, the second half of our British contingent. Delighted to be joined on stage. We have Charlotte Purdue, who had a fantastic big half victory, so in shape. We've got the British champion from last year, Natasha Cockram, and we have Sam Harrison looking to knock a few minutes off her lifetime best in the marathon. So before we begin, again, to our online media, if you can obviously submit your chats to your questions to the Zoom chat, and please keep your camera on, your microphone off, and then we will ask you to ask your questions to our athletes. So first question to Charlotte, how's your preparations gone? It looks like it's gone well with those two fantastic half marathons. Are you excited about Sunday?
Yeah, so couldn't really have asked for a better preparation. Everything's gone better than I expected, so definitely looking forward to running on Sunday.
We can't wait to see it, and should be a fantastic race. So, Natasha, huge consistency over the marathon over the last few races over the distance. How's your preparations gone ready for Sunday?
It's been slightly different this year. This is actually my first marathon injury-free, completely pain-free. So, really looking forward to Sunday. It's meant my training hasn't been quite as intense as normal, but I think being injury-free is more important.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing a healthy Natasha out there. That looked to be exciting. Sam, your personal best on paper is 2:54, but I think that doesn't quite do justice considering that fantastic 69-minute half marathon. What's yourself and Vince Wilson, your coach, ideas for time-wise for Sunday? Do you have a goal in mind?
Yeah, I mean, we have a sort of goal in mind, which hopefully we'll be able to achieve. But the marathon is just so unpredictable on the day, so hopefully the training and all the hard work will pay off on the day, but you can never predict how the marathon's going to go. So hopefully it would definitely be a PB, that's for sure, and hopefully quite a big PB. But yeah, we'll just see what we can pull out on the day.
Can we tie you down to a prediction, or is there a pace group you're looking to go out with?
Yeah, well, I'm not quite sure if there is going to be paces at time required. I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But yeah, I've got sort of a goal in mind of where I need to be at halfway. And I spoke to a couple of the girls, so we sort of want the same sort of time. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I won't push you too far on a prediction then. So. Charlotte, obviously disappointment with not being selected for the Olympics. How have you dealt with that, and how has that been maybe a catalyst to your training and preparation for Sunday?
I knew you were going to ask this question. Yeah, so obviously I was disappointed not to get selected, but then I quickly just focused on something else really, and having the London Marathon was a great thing to aim for. It's always something that I want to run every single year, so for me, like, the London Marathon is as exciting as the Olympics. So yeah, I just put all my focus onto training for this race, and yeah, excited to run.
Brilliant. I won't push you too far much on that. That's good enough. Natasha, last year, 12 months ago, the weather was a little bit wet, very cold. How did you cope with those conditions and obviously, pace that race, being that it was on a lapped course?
Yeah, I think the conditions definitely slowed the race down a lot, but I love the lap course personally, so it'd be interesting being back out on the normal London course on Sunday. Yeah,
will that make a difference that it is back to the traditional course?
I think so. I mean, hopefully the weather's going to be better. It looks like it's going to be better, so I think the times will represent that and they'll be faster.
So again, just a reminder to our media online, if they want to put any questions to Sam, Charlotte and Natasha, to do so through the chat function. So Sam, in terms of your preparation, you weren't able to make the start line for the Olympic marathon trials. That was part of one of your aims, wasn't it, originally? Has that again given you a little bit of fuel and a little bit of motivation and steered you into Sunday's race in a better way?
Yeah, absolutely, because I've had sort of 2 marathon build-ups now. So I had the first one in prep for the marathon trials, and then the Olympic marathon trials, and then now I've had another build-up. So they've been slightly different. So yeah, it's pretty good to have 2 preps and have all that sort of training in the tank. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to London and just giving it a real good shot.
And Charlotte, I've enjoyed your social media stuff. You've shared a lot of your training, and it looks like it's been going really well. Have you changed your preparation into this year's race compared to previous marathons?
Not really. The sessions have been the same. I just feel now this will be my 7th marathon, and I've done about 9 marathon build-ups. So every time I just find the training a little bit easier, so I can push it a little bit more. So I just feel kind of, that the training's gone better, but it's been similar, just, because I've done it so many times now. I know what I can handle and stuff like that.
So a bit of familiarity has given you confidence going into Sunday that certain key sessions are better than previously?
Yeah, I always look back at my training diary and everything's gone better than it ever has before, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's always good as a runner, definitely.
Yeah.
Tim Hutchins.
Yeah, hi James, thanks. Just wanted to ask Natasha what it was that she liked about the multi-lap course last year. I mean, it was obviously horrible conditions. It was windy and wet. And I think probably the majority of marathon runners wouldn't have liked that format. They liked the changing course. And Bridget Kosgei said she didn't like it at all. So a very opposite view to you. What was it you liked about it?
Before relocating to Norfolk, I used to train on an 800-metre lap around a reservoir. I used to do all my workouts there, all my long runs, just everything. So I was working out at unsociable times, and I just knew it was like a safe place to train. So I think it's just, I was so used to doing the laps, and it's just what I was used to. I loved it.
So no laps on Sunday, though. Peter Gildrand.
Hello, and Shemai to Natasha from very rainy Wales this afternoon. I've asked this to every athlete, but I think it's very important to note it's been a very hard 18 months for athletes like yourselves and just casual runners like myself. But what's it going to feel like to have the crowds back in London, that spirit of London, and also behind you, you'll have the thousands of runners just doing it for themselves or for charity. Just how is that going to feel?
Excited for it as it be the first. Well, I've done London once before on the proper course, but it was before I really reached that elite level. So it'd be my first elite marathon in London, racing with the crowd. So I'm just really excited. I think the crowds really do push you along, and you get faster time when you have the crowds there versus not having them.
So Charlotte, you coach a few athletes as well. Do you have any running in the mass race as well?
Yeah, we do. We actually have a really long list of everyone running, and another one of our coaches is also racing as well. So there's a big Purdue performance contingent out there, so that'd be cool.
That'd be great. So it'd be a festival atmosphere out there. So, brilliant. Sam, hugely interested, a lot of people are, in your progression. You don't mind me saying that you would have called yourself maybe a bit of a kind of fun runner or club runner just a few years ago. How amazing is it to be, in a press conference like this, then on Sunday lining up with the elites at the London Marathon?
Yeah, I mean, it's been such a whirlwind, really, and it's all happened so quickly within the space of 3 years. If you had asked me 2.5 years ago, would I be in the position I am now, I probably would have just laughed and been like, oh no, of course not. But it just goes to show, keep dedicated, put the training in, and make them sacrifices, and you just never know where you end up.
So what would your advice be to someone maybe that is in similar shoes on Sunday, that they can do it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you can just get in that mindset and just give it your all, I think anybody can do it.
Brilliant. Dave Monty.
Hey, Charlotte, how are you? You changed kit sponsors. How did that happen? And was it difficult to change to different clothing and equipment? Thank you.
So I changed in January, and I was obviously with Nike for 12 years, so the shoes I was very used to wearing. So at first, I guess just the change was a bit not scary, but it took a bit of getting used to. But Adidas shoes are great, and the racing shoes especially, I really love them. So I actually feel pretty good wearing them now. Obviously the transition, just changing after 12 years was a bit, my feet took a bit of getting used to, but like I said, now completely fine.
Brilliant. Jennifer Bozon?
Yeah, question for Charlotte. Obviously, at the London Marathon in 2019, you were the first British athlete home when you ran a PB, I think it was, of 2:25:38. Do you think you're on track to run a PB at London again this year?
Based on my training, I'd say yes. But obviously, the marathon, you don't know what can happen in the race on the day. But yeah, based on training, everything's looking good.
So Natasha, your coach is based in the US. Tell us a little bit how that works in terms of getting training schedules and communication.
Yeah, we do everything via message and FaceTime. I message him most days, but it's worked really well for me, I think, because I work as well. It's made it really flexible. I don't have to be meeting a coach at a certain time and certain place. I can just work it around my schedule, which, yeah, it's been really great. And Tony's really willing to work around me rather than me work around him.
And it's been great seeing the success of Verity Ockenden as well, that Tony Houchin also looks after. So, Charlie, and the table as well. There's obviously a World Championship place up for grabs. Charlie, is that one of your aims on Sundays, to make sure that you get first Brit across the line in that qualifying time, so there is no selection issues this time around?
Well, I never like to say there'll be no selection issues because you don't know what they're going to do. But yeah, I actually haven't decided what my plans will be for next year yet. Up until Sunday, I don't have any plans, so I guess have to plan out what will happen next year, because obviously there's a World Championships, a Commonwealth Games and a European Championships. So yeah, I'll have to decide which one I go for.
Which would you pick right now?
Honestly, I don't know. I literally have not thought past Sunday at all. So
that's okay. That's
no plans.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. Sam, you obviously represented Great Britain in the World Half Marathon Championships. If you were to make that World Champion team in the marathon, would that be a dream come true?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've not really, like the same as Charlotte, I've not really thought that far ahead. I just know that I want to get a qualifying time for one of those championships next year. So yeah, ultimately the Worlds would be incredible to compete on the start line with, the world's best. So hopefully.
So obviously there's one automatic space, but the rest of the team will be picked on the performances, and hopefully some from Sunday. Natasha, obviously, as a proud Welsh person, Commonwealth Games next year, potentially in the Red of Wales. Have you thought much about the summer, because there's obviously so many opportunities?
Yeah, I guess similar to Charlie and Sam, I've not really thought that far ahead. See how Sunday goes. I mean, I'd like to have the option of all three, but I'm not sure which one I'd choose at this point. It would just be a conversation we have after Sunday.
And Charlotte, have you thought, in terms of pacing groups for Sunday, which kind of halfway split you have in mind at the moment?
Very weather dependent, but obviously got that 2:23 in my head of Mara's time. But like I said, very weather dependent. So yeah, I'll have to make the call with my coach.
And Natasha, have you thought about halfway splits? I'm sure you're probably looking at that sub 2:30 barrier being smashed on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely want to break that PB and Welsh record, bring it down into the 20s rather than keeping it at the 30s, as it was so close last time.
Yeah, that would be good. It'd be good to see the Welsh record come down. So in terms of final preparations, Sam, last long runs in there, is it just a case of resting and recovery between now and Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a couple of easy miles, just to keep the legs ticking over the next few days. But yeah, all the hard work's done now, so it's just literally just heading down to Sunday and just chilling out.
Well, we wish you all the best, all three of you. So Natasha, Charlotte and Sam, good luck at the Virgin Money London Marathon on Sunday. There's obviously a press conference for our winners from the Elite Hotel at 11 o'clock on Monday, and we will see you then.